Welcome to the Dirty Dozen Conference. I am the real Dr. Phil, aka Pastor Phil, aka the Chief, and this conference is all about bringing 12 of the most interesting people that I know in this world who can give you some opinions, some nuggets of gold, some wisdom from above about how they see this world, about what's going on. And my special guest today with me right now, she has been a friend for a long, long time. She's just a wonderful human being. She's doing wonderful things in her life. And everybody I picked to be on my panel, they're people that are shooting for the stars. They're shooting for the moon. They're going into outer space, by going into inner space first, finding out what's inside of them. As a man or woman thinketh, so are they. So I want to introduce you to my friend Sunday. Sunday.
Hi, Chief.
Welcome. Please take a few minutes and introduce yourself to all of us. Tell us a little bit about what you're about, and then I'll ask you some questions.
Okay. I don't know. I'm a woman of God. I'm a mother. I have four beautiful children. I came to California in 2011. God gave me sight in 2016. Everything is different. What is the scripture? When we allow the Holy Spirit into ourselves, we get to be made into a new creation. I have noticed more recently, especially, I don't walk the same. I don't speak the same. My mannerisms aren't the same. And I know that as long as I continue on this path, my destiny won't be the same.
Okay. So you're a born again Christian.
I am.
You're a believer in Christ. Yeah. And all of my guests are people that have come from different rugged backgrounds. That's what I love about it. They're not a bunch of perfect people. They weren't raised in, anything special. They're just people like you and I, sinners who've been saved by the grace of God. And one of the things that I really wanted to point out from bringing you on here is because I've got to see your struggles. I've got to see you reach for things. And you're just like a regular all-American person sharing some deep truths with us today. And let me just give you this first question off. The pandemic, the COVID thing, all this stuff has affected our whole world. How's it affected your world? Has it?
Absolutely has. But I believe that, again, God has put me through some things in my life. I have put me through some things in my life that has uniquely qualified me to be in this position for this pandemic. I've done solitary confinement. I've done a lot of isolation.
Now, slow down a little bit. You've done solitary confinement.
I have.
What is that?
When you get locked up and you still don't know how to behave, they put you in a place all by yourself.
Yeah, even when you're in a place where you don't know how to behave, then there's a deeper place.
Right.
Solitary.
Right.
And so from a rebellious lifestyle and all that stuff. So, okay, go ahead.
So I believe, especially now, coming into this world, coming into this pandemic, coming into where people are living in fear and thriving off of fear, I get to have memories of things that I got to do before, you know what I mean? And it's not scary for me. And when I'm not walking around full of fear, then I'm able to exude that to my clients, to my friends, to my sponsees, to people that are in my environment, my fellows, my peers that are with me. If I'm not walking in fear in this situation because I know this man that has saved all of us, then they can feel that comfort. Because it's one thing to say, you know what I mean? It's one thing to say, I'm not scared and this is going to be okay. It's one thing to know, you know what I mean? Like with you. And so, when I'm in certain situations and I feel the fear in someone, because again, I've worn some hats before in my life. And so I feel that fear in that situation, then I can remind them, this is how we grow our courage. Wow. This is how we grow our perseverance.
And that's what's beautiful about it. Is like it says, you're learning to be steady in unsteady times, but it's through the experiences you had, things that got you ready for this. You know how to be locked down, you know how to be quarantined, you know how to do all those things. But at the same time, this pandemic's going on, because fear paralyzes people. And we don't want to be paralyzed. We don't want to stop everything we were doing. We don't want to just be afraid. We want to be able to accomplish things. What kind of things have you been able to accomplish in this pandemic time?
Well, first off at school, we were able to accomplish becoming a fully funded program. So the Fight Club, which we've had for a couple of years, that we've talked about over some time.
And you started this.
I did. I'm a founding member of the Fight Club.
So here you were, About 4 years ago,
4
you
years
were in
ago.
when you were in your addiction, in your disease. How
Yeah.
long ago was that?
So I got out June 11th, 2016.
Okay.
I came to you,
Okay.
my safe place. I went home and didn't get the information that I wanted. And again, I was living hugely in self-will, my will, not his will, and so for me, as long as I did that, I started to recognize that I was living out of consequence rather than choice.
Mhm.
And I continued to live in consequence until I learned
Oh, that's good.
another
Yeah.
way,
Mhm.
and so I got back into my disease again, and I have, in the midst of it all, found people and understood unconditional love. And so I was able to stumble into school because of someone that I had bonded with already, and we had unconditional love.
So you
and
got yourself into school,
Mhm.
out of the addiction.
Yeah.
You were at my Black Sheep recovery house
I
over
was.
there. So I was getting to watch your whole life change and stuff like that. Through the good times and the bad times, you did it. You get in school, and then what happened once you got in school?
Funny story, the way things work out, right? So I get to my first week of school, and I went with someone I was locked up with. We get to go to school together and re-register. I get on campus and I go to the cafeteria, and there's someone I had done time in Chocholo with.
Wow.
And so then I go to my class at the end of the week, and there's this person that I was locked up with again, all different occasions, all separate
At
situations.
a beautiful little Cypress College?
In the beautiful,
In Orange County. Wow, who
Cypress
would have
College,
known?
right? I find some friends that I've known from different parts of me, different versions of me, if you will. And it's just funny because, again, we come together and we're like in that multitude of counsel. We're like, hey, look, guys, like we made it here. We made it out. Like, what are we going to do with it now?
Okay.
Now we've gotten to this place. We've gotten these blessings. Now, what are we going to do with it?
So during this time, when other people are slowing down, closing down,
Mm-hmm.
here you started this Fight Club. And the Fight Club does what?
So it stands for From Incarceration to Empowerment. And what Fight Club does is Fight Club is a student support group for helping student success rates rise. So if you are a reentry student, if you've done time, if you deal with isolation or addiction issues or anything that has to do with limiting ourselves because of our tendencies, because of what we think we're worth, anything that has to do with stopping you from having your best chance, we kind of surround, because it's like a pack mentality, right? And so when I notice that one of my girls won't call for 2 weeks, or one of them are posting things on Facebook, I will call the network, and we will, as a tribe, show up and surround
Oh, how
that sister and be
beautiful.
like, come on, baby, we got to go.
Yeah, like the
there's
white
something you should do.
corpuscles coming to kill the disease. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So you help each other out along the way. Now, does politics in the world, presidential and senators and Congress people and all that kind of stuff, do politics, are they involved in any of your life at all?
They are, more recently, surprisingly. So I didn't really understand a lot of this stuff, you know what I mean? Especially getting back into school. But Fight Club came about. We got some recognition. They sent us a few places around this nation. And so I got to learn some things. In the midst of that, I got to learn that resolutions are made at a college level, right? And submitting a resolution, what that looks like, how to go to San Francisco, how to advocate, how I can even advocate even from here in Orange County, how in that, again, that multitude of counsel, there's a group of us, there's a tribe of us now.
So you all collaborate together, get wisdom from everybody, yes.
Right, or even something as simple as I believe in something, I can understand that something, so doing like you do, putting up a Facebook post about, hey, let's raise some awareness, let's put good information into the world so that people can understand, rather than just dwelling in emotion, let's dwell in information. Yeah, let's get active about this, because again, these beautiful things are being given to us. This information is being given to us. What are we going to do about it?
Wow, that is so beautiful. So here you are, you get out of incarceration, all that kind of stuff like that. You get off of the drugs like that, get into school, you meet some other people like that, you collaborate, masterminding, coming together. Nothing significant is done by ourselves. It's all about a team.
Yeah.
It's about a team. So here you are. Now you're kind of one of the ringleaders. Okay.
Something like that. I am the president this year.
There you go. I mean, wow, from prisoner to president. I mean, pretty heavy. Now, while you've been doing this stuff during this pandemic and all this stuff, you've been, still going to school, all that stuff like that. Have you hooked up with any people that have taken you to some other places?
Absolutely. So, Fight Club created or helped create and learned with Homeboy Industries from LA. We collaborated with them on how to create a safe zone training for the institutionalized mind. So for someone who is coming out of being recently incarcerated, the mindset is a little bit different.
Yes.
It's not really you have the degree so I can learn from you. It's I have to trust you. I have to believe in you for me to even hear what you're saying to learn from you.
Okay.
And so getting to a place where that's all good and fine, but if I don't believe in if I am not picking up what you're putting down, then I'm not going to hear it anyways.
So the psyche, you have to teach them the whole
inside
thing.
Of the mind, right?
Exactly. So they're trusting you. No, there's no hidden agenda except to help them. And while you're helping others, people are helping you.
Right.
Now, tell me a little bit about, you've got a chance now. You finished a couple years of school?
I have. So, again, with the support of others, you know what I mean? I get nowhere without my tribe. I've been able to see Stanford University. I've gotten to Yale to help teach the Safe Zone training. I just got back right before the pandemic in March from Columbia University in New York. Like, I'd never been to New York before in my life. I acquired a position as an underground scholars ambassador with UC Berkeley. And what that came with is a full ride scholarship. It came with counselors. It came with a team of people and a very direct path from here to my master's.
You're blowing my mind. You are blowing my Now, spirituality. How did spirituality work in your life? What happened? I mean, how did you, as they say, turn over a new leaf or change directions or repent or whatever? How did it happen in your life? Was there a big decision? Was there a tragic situation happen in your life? What would you say?
Well, no, really. I think it's just, again, more information. The more information, the more knowledge, the more wisdom, the more growth, the larger the expansion gets, right? And when I get to step out. So Neil deGrasse Tyson wrote this book called The Cosmic Perspective. And it's standing all the way out in the cosmos and looking at the world and the way that things are. And my favorite quote from him is, if we could all stand back in a cosmic perspective, then we would celebrate each other for our differences rather than fight each other because of them. Because in the ultimate, when we step back, we're all in this same space. We're all here together. And we're all here together by divine appointment. It's not an accident that we're here right now. It's not an accident that everyone is doing the things that they're doing. Sometimes we get distracted from our path, but we don't need to. He doesn't need our permission, And so I grew up as a Kanaka Maoli woman, right? Born and raised in Hilo, Hawaii. And we celebrate our different, I guess in Greek they would call them demigods. Right. At home we would call like Kamapua'a or Tutupele. We call them ancestors. Right. And whether they're human or not, some take animal form, some take lava form, And so growing up as a girl in Hawaii, I understood that each of these things had their purpose, right? But I never understood why they were all so separate. It wasn't until I got to know God and Jesus and read my Bible getting to California that I even got to see where that fits in. Because again, raised as a Kanaka Maoli, like, what does that mean for me? Is that beware of idolatry? Like, where does that fit in? Is this okay that I still honor Tutupele before I eat my meals and I still thank Kamapua'a before I do certain things? Is that okay? Wow. And so, again, baby Christians drink the milk and we hear it from others. But as I start to grow, I had to eat on my own. And so in dissecting my Bible and in looking into these things myself, it even says that when he sent a third of his angels down, what happens is they started to mate with the humans, and then we got giants and we got all of these other things. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like there's my epiphany. That's where it came from. So there's nothing wrong with what I was raised with. It's just a smaller view. And now I'm starting to grow and I get this expanded view and I get to know that he's the one true God.
Wow, that is so beautiful, and that's what ever learning and growing. That's why different perspective, ideals, things like that. And then just realize that, man looks in the outward, but God looks in the heart. And so all of our heart, when we get to know each other's backstories, where you're from, I got to meet your mom, see family, I get to see your children. And I get to watch a little bit how the DNA works and, how genes work in life. And here you are from Hilo over there. And you come over here, and then I get to see you going through your struggles, getting off the drugs. People think once you're sober, and everything's wonderful then. No, we got all kinds of character defaults and this stuff we got to deal with. And here we are today. This is going out to millions of people. I mean, I have wonderful friends who are going to help get this out there, because I wanted to just ordinary, regular people who are doing extraordinary things. You can just be ordinary and stay there, but hey, God said there's treasure in earthen vessels. So now I'm watching that treasure start to come out in you, and I see that you're a leader. You're called to be a leader, and you're leading. Leadership is influence. You're influencing other young people too, and it's just a blessing. Tell me about relationships now. How, and it's a wide topic, but tell me about relationships in your life.
Oh, okay. So I realized when I first was getting sober that I didn't really know how to have them. I used to always say it was a habit of mine to take hostages. It doesn't matter if they were my family, if they were my friend, whoever it was, I took hostages, and so it wasn't, it was a my way or the highway mentality, like get in or get out of my way. And that was the first thing that screamed to me, because again, when we get sober, we don't necessarily get right. Like the drugs and alcohol are eliminated as a problem. The obsession has been removed because I've prayed enough for it, And now what is the next thing that I have to pray for him to do? Because I mean, I can't do any of this, even as a woman of AA, right? It says, I ask God to remove my shortcomings. I ask God to take care of my character defects. I understand that I cannot do these things, that he has to do these things. I get into my Father's business and he takes care of mine, right? So in the morning, I pray to him, Lord, please don't let me be selfish or self-centered. Please get me out of the way and let me do whatever it is that you want me to do. And then I go about his business all day and he takes care of my issues that I've had all my life. So, that was one of the first things that came up for me, like what do I do with the relationship thing? Because now I've moved to California. I got released in 2016. Funny again, because June 11th, 2011, I get to California from Hawaii for the first time. June 11th, 2016, I get released from lockup for the last time. Back to your houses again, you know what I mean? Because it wasn't my first, second, or third time with you before something finally took, but
third time's a charm, yes.
Right? But so I just kind of, for me, I had to grow, I think MJ said it too, I had to grow a relationship with my God. I had to grow a relationship with myself. I didn't know how to love me. I didn't know what it looked like to be loved in a healthy manner. And so I had to grow this. So it's a Native American tale, right? Where the man is standing with his braids and he's looking up, and it was in my chaplain's office when I was in the Army. But he's looking up at the sky and he's going, Father, which wolf wins? And the rays are coming down and he has a black wolf on one side and a white wolf on the other side of him. And he's going, Father, which wolf wins? And God looks at him and says, whichever one you feed, my son. Because they both live in me every day, right? So every day I have self-consciousness and I have God consciousness. And if I'm feeding self-consciousness, if I'm feeding those thoughts in my head and how do I fix me and how do I look and what does this do to benefit me, then that black wolf is going to grow. And AA teaches me I have a 24-hour reprieve based on the maintenance of my spiritual condition. So where is God in it and who am I helping? And if I'm feeding me, right, I'm growing this black wolf, then I'm not doing anything other than pride and ego. The pride comes before the fall, right?
There you go, yes.
And so I have to be aware in that whole 24 hours and consciously work towards feeding this white wolf, because I spend enough time over here in the darkness already. He's big and strong. And so I have to actually mentally have that discipline that we were talking about earlier. And I have to discipline myself to constantly be aware of what I'm doing and how it's feeding my white wolf.
So what would you tell somebody then for spirituality? People are looking for love in all the wrong places. People want this. We think the answer is out there somewhere, but we found out it's an inside job. And all of my guests have all come to that from different ways they've come, but they've all found out, like I says, the kingdom of heaven is within us, inside of us. Nobody to blame for our problems, faults. It's consequences, and choices that we've made in the past that have brought us where we are, even right here. So here you are, you're a woman of God. You got goals, things like that and stuff like that. But for spirituality, what would you tell people to read, or where would they go? What direction would you give people who are tuning in right now? to increase their spirituality?
I don't know. Spirituality is a really big word for me. I would say start with the truth, right? It's the Bible. It's the Word. That's where I eat. That's where I grow. That's where I feed. That's where I learn not only how to do things, but how to feel about doing those things.
Right.
Right. And like you said, it's an inside job. And so I have to be aware of, what does he say? If what little I give you, you don't do anything with, you're not putting out. So he gave it to me. Now, what am I going to do with
There
it?
you
Right.
go.
And so if I don't do anything with it, then what little I've given you, I'll take away. Right. And so I have to remember that every single thing that has been given to me and every single time that he has walked me through another struggle and said, all right, princess, I'm so proud of you. Keep going, baby. I have to give homage to that. I have to be grateful for that. And I show that because gratitude is an action word. It's not just an emotional thing, right? So if I'm walking in gratitude, it's by constantly being aware of how can I help and how do I become a better servant
There you
today.
go. To whom much is given, much is required.
Right.
And here you are growing and everything. Last question here. So important here, though. Here you've come, man, from being locked up, being locked up in the locked up, all the way, all the things you've went through, this, that, and everything like that. So here you are now, founder of the Fight Club, and you get scholarships and you get to travel. You're doing all these wonderful things that you're so admired for by everybody around. We talk about you. And what a wonderful thing, because the Bible said, let another man's or woman's lips praise you. You're doing all these things. But what are your short, mid, long-range goals for you now? I mean, we know it, your imagination, is how people get a vision for the future and stuff like that. What's going through your head? What's going through your thought life on your goals for the future?
Short-term goals. I want to get to a place where I've organized a Bible study in my house. Life has gotten really busy and I've been doing good with reading on my own, but I feel a call to encourage more women. I know we used to have the Cara with Jennifer and the Congregation Church, and that was a beautiful thing. They've taken an off season right now, and so I don't get that opportunity to fellowship with those women, but just increasing the strength of that pack and increasing it with the truth is something that I'm craving lately. Mid-range goal, I really don't know. It's such I feel like when I have this plan and have this mission and have this expectation, then I have an expectation, and that's a dangerous place for a drug addict and alcoholic like me, And so I feel like, again, I want to wake up in gratitude and go wherever I'm led. Like I know I want to get on MJ's team he was talking about. I know I want to be a participant in whatever's going on with you and the family. I know I was able during this pandemic to finish my schooling for the addiction studies. So now I get to be a benefit at Melrose, and so they've given me an opportunity. And with that opportunity, again, I want to come back and pay homage there and say, hey, you didn't invest in nothing. Thank you. I appreciate you, and walk in gratitude there. But I really don't know. I guess get through my master's degree, which is what we're working on right now, right? But be a good mother.
I love it because you're living in the moment.
Yeah.
A lot of people think you have to have this set. I mean, there's so many things down the road of life. Like I said, the cool part of it is enjoying the ride,
right?
Enjoying the journey. Because what people go, once we get there, where's there? I've been, Rockefeller. I always say Rockefeller, the billionaire. When they ask him how much more money you need, Rockefeller, he goes, $1 more than I got. The good book says the eyes of men and women are never satisfied or full. It's never enough. You get one hit record, you want another hit record, whatever it is. But it's so cool, like it says, we don't have to have the answer like, gee, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Hey, it's coming along. You can see, like Tim Storage says, we don't have to chase after our dreams. Just let God, he's got that little light, that lamp before our feet. Right. He's going to guide us along the way. And with him, we can't go wrong. Man, any final thoughts you'd like to tell the world?
I sit in awe of my God today. I'm truly amazed by the restoration that has happened in my life. Like, I gave away babies. I got back teenagers. You know, like there's so many things going on that if I sit down for too long and think about it, I feel like I'm gonna explode out of my body. Like it's just an amazing, beautiful journey. And like we were just saying, you know, like I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Doctor something.
There you go.
But
Hey.
I don't know what that is. You know what I mean? But really, it's getting more in tune with what my purpose was, why I was created, knitted together in my mother's womb and made specifically for this purpose, and just trying to seek what that purpose is. And along the way, there's these great days where everything goes different than I expected and I get some life lessons out of it, but I'm going to hold those because there's somebody around me that's going to need it, and just kind of collecting those things, like you call them, the nuggets of wisdom.
Yes.
I'm wandering around collecting them for whoever needs them whenever I
There
can.
you go. You know, well, let me tell you, you are a shining light in this dark world, and just the byproduct of everything that's just happened in your life. And it's just fun to be able to watch, like the cosmic. I'd be able to do this and just go, man, I'm watching my friends, these 12 that you chose, God, because it was God chose them. It wasn't like, I'm going to add and this and that. Who is it, God? And I says, and watching you guys all just flourish and grow, and I'm just glad to be part of your journey, you know, on the same ride together, heading to heaven and getting as many passengers on as possible. Love you.
Love you.
God bless you.
Thank
Woo!
you.